Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
All right. How's everybody doing? What's going on? How's your week been, folks? We are back for another episode of GCOM Radio. Yeah, hopefully your week was good and nice and you learned something and it was challenging. Yes, I do say challenging because, as they say, man, metal sharpens metal and you can't get by or improve if you don't have adversity. So hopefully it's some adversity that you can learn from and it only makes you a better person. So yeah, man, let's get right to it, man. I got a lot of things happening right now, man. Yeah, this is going on. I'm telling you, it's never ending. People don't understand what it takes to be a founder. People don't understand what it takes to run a business. There is no clock in and clock out. You are up at any time of the day, any time of the night. When it hits you in the middle, you just gotta key in, man, and do what you gotta do. Even when you're chilling with fam or you're supposedly on vacation, when you have that thought, when you struck with inspiration, you just have to pause for a second and write down some notes. So it's a never-ending battle, man. It's a never-ending job, and of course, that's why I understand why founders and CEOs, people, they just go on vacation for like a month because they are on it, burning the candle at both ends, going. Even when you guys are sleeping, even people are on holidays, people are still working. And yeah, man, no wonder, because you know when you're about to burn out, and that's why they go on these vacations to like freaking Saint-Tropez, India, or whatever place they're going for like a month, 2 months, and now it's time to reinsert themselves into the hustle. But yeah, we're gonna get things going, and we got some stories that I wanted to talk about. And before I cut out, let's see, as I always say, I try to do it in a short period of time. This, as I said, even before associated with that, I'm just doing this short for the time being. Hopefully I could gear up and do a full show and with the segments. And if you're a long time listener of GCOM Radio, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, let's just get things going. Yes, I am your host, Nova Phoenix, on GCOM Radio, on iHeartRadio. And the first topic that I want to talk about with you guys is what everybody already knows: the bombing in Brooklyn and Sunset Park. Man, a lot of people have been talking about this, and they caught the guy, and it's a very interesting thing. His guy name is Frank James, a 62-year-old man that had a checkered past. I've been like tuning in and tuning out, but what I've read from the several articles that I've read from a variety of different publications, online publications, he had a checkered past. He's been arrested a couple times. He's been in other states. He also has mental issues. He was in, I don't know how long he was in, but he was in a mental institution or treating his condition. They, of course, the quote unquote journalists, I was going to say quote unquote, there's no investigative journalism anymore, only when it works for them. But anyway, what they did find of his past is that or just from what he's done, what online footprint he left. He did a lot of videos on YouTube, and he was just talking a lot of nonsense that he was the harbinger of death or something or other, and he went on tirades, talking about racial stuff and all these things. And it was from what they reported, it was not coherent at all. It was not coherent at all. And first and foremost, before I go any further going into the story of this man, I'd like to give deepest condolences to the people that got hurt, the people that got killed. I don't even know if anyone was killed during the Sunset Park thing, shooting. Sunset Park. Okay, so no one died. No one actually died. I think I read something where they said like 2 people died, but several people got shot. I think for anywhere between 10 and 22 people were hurt. And that's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. But again, I like to give, I'll give my heart out to all those people that really did get hurt during this whole ordeal. It's crazy. He set off a smoke bomb. As everybody knows, he had a Glock on him and started just shooting wildly, and people got hurt, man. People got seriously hurt, and it was chaos. It was pandemonium. And they found this guy because he happened to leave, I don't know, his card or evidence that the police traced back to him. So they found the guy. But the wild thing was, of course, everybody's going to think of all different types of things. I got it accepted. Okay, got it. Okay. Sorry, I just had to check a text right quick, because if I don't answer the text, it's going to keep on dinging. Anyway, so where was I? So like I said, he was all over the place on the stuff that he left on YouTube and talking about all these things. And a lot of people are going to think early on, you never know if it was like a terrorist attack, because the guy set off a smoke bomb, and at first the news was reporting that they were undetonated bombs. So of course you're thinking of the worst, like on some 9/11 business. But it turns out that this guy was mentally cracked, and he got a hold of these things, and he put on a gas mask, and he was shooting all about the place. And they found him from some evidence that he left. I think it was a credit card in a bag or something or other, traced back to a rental van that he got in Pennsylvania. He traveled over here. So yeah, he went all about that business. But the crazy thing about that whole thing is they were going to do this massive manhunt. And let me back up a little bit. The crazy thing was that all those cameras that they always want to talk about in the subway, none of them was working. All of them was off. It was kind of nuts. I'm like, what? All this technology you guys talk about, all of a sudden to find out when it really is needed, they weren't working. It's crazy. But the wild part about it is they just found this dude, and that's why I knew this dude was a little off. It just didn't make sense. Of course, if you're going to orchestrate something where it's terroristic to some degree, of course, when you hurt people, you're trying to send a message, and that's immediately where my thoughts were going. You're going to hightail it out of New York City because everybody's looking for you. They found this guy just chilling, walking along, and some dude found him. I think it was in Lower Manhattan. It was in Lower Manhattan. They found this just chilling, walking about, and they got him to do screen for police, and they arrested the dude, and it turns out that he was the guy that did it. And so when they're asking him all these questions, this guy, he was just all over the place. He was all over the place. So obviously this guy was not right in the head. He was not right in the head. And Mayor Adams did say that it reminds of there needs to be mental health help for people that have conditions like this. Now, it's upsetting that this took place. I just want to make sure that this doesn't go off. Sometimes you got to think about the politic of it all. That this doesn't happen where it turns into something where, local politicians will use it as a means to, saying, okay, we need to put more cops in the street, and we need to expand the NYPD budget. And it's already it's crazy. It's like it's the budget for New York City Police Department is already huge. And then, you want to make sure that they don't kind of shift the narrative from everyone thinking about the George Floyd bill and dealing with corruption in police departments across America and in New York. And all of a sudden, it shifts the masses' thoughts to something that's going to be, yeah, we need more police. And what a way for the powers that be that will try to shift the narrative into changing the minds of the people to now accept to have more cops. And now what I'm afraid of is that we're going to turn back to where it was before with Operation Impact. I was for so many years ago where they were basically invading black and brown neighborhoods, and they were, arresting any and everybody. And all of a sudden we're going to farm black bodies into the jail system. That's not what I want to happen. And people have to be very, very careful what they ask for. And I see it happening. It's happening in the news. I was at the gym and I'm looking at it. Of course, there's no audio. I'm just looking how the newscasters, because there's a lower third of the actual closed caption that was coming along. I couldn't read everything. I need to get glasses. But I got the gist of what they were trying to say. And again, it's about shaping the narrative that's to say that you guys need cops. This is what happens when you you want to defund the police. This is what happens when you want to get into all these things. And I'm like, you have to be careful how the news is shaping the narrative. And just not what's happening in New York with this situation, but also what's happening in LA. Listen, it's not to say there's things that are not happening in LA. Crime is crime. Of course, you're going to have crime in poor neighborhoods. That is what's going to happen. But the way the news is reporting what's happening in LA, because there was a string of robberies that's happening with gangs, and the way the news was reporting it in the Los Angeles area as if this was a new type of dastardly crime and going down deep into the genetics of the individual that are performing, or individuals performing these robberies and robbing people out of their car, sticking people up by gunpoint. Of course, I see what's happening. I see beyond what the news is reporting that they're trying to shape the masses' approval on trying to accept that, yes, you need more cops and LAPD, and you need to fund them, and we need to do all these things and reinstitute programs that's only going to shuffle more young black youth and brown youth into jails. They want to go back to business as usual. Yes, the George Floyd bill got obstruction. It did not move anywhere. Now what's happening is these locales are trying to shift the narrative into getting the masses to approve of this again. Now, listen, before, when all this was going down with the George Floyd bill and you had a lot of PD saying, we're not going to be on the streets, you had cops that were literally avoiding doing their jobs. They pulled back the patrols that were happening. Now, of course, what happens in poor neighborhoods, you're going to have crime, because people don't have anything. Most of the crimes that are happening, what's being reported from these gangs, is typical situation. They're coming from broken homes. They're coming from homes that don't have a lot of money. There's a variety of different situations when you come into different hoods across America. So you're going to have youths going to go out there and try to find family other places which are in gangs. This is nothing new. This has been discussed and brooded over and broken apart and dissected and reassembled, understanding how gangs begin, or how gangs start, and where they go after they start. You got the Rolling 60s, you got the Bloods, you got the Crips, you got all the different types of gangs going on. Of course, specifically in LA, you're going to have the Bloods and Crips. But again, this is not about reporting the crime. This is not about informing the people of what's going on in the neighborhood. This is trying to shift the ideas of the people to accept having more cops on the street. Now, I don't have a problem with police. Trust me, I don't have a problem with the police. But police are just short-term solutions or short-term methods that you use to control a certain situation that could get out of hand when it comes to crime. But there are long-term solutions that you have to institute in poor neighborhoods so you can decrease the crime or revitalize a neighborhood. And that is what the message should be. And now, driving home, folks, do not let the news, and do not let the news try to control the narrative. Keep on pushing forward. We're trying to improve communities of color, revitalizing these neighborhoods with different programs that's going to benefit the people. Do not go. Now, listen, I see what's happening in the hood. I see the crimes that's happening. Trust me, I see it. But we cannot allow for us to go back 10, 20 years and go back to locking up black bodies and going up to locking up brown bodies, because that's exactly what they want to do. They want to calm you down. They want to let time take its place. And now what they're going to do, the other side of it is, you have the media that's going to consistently run these stories of crime and rising crime, and the crime in certain ways are happening. So now you're going to slowly start changing the minds and swaying the minds of the people to say, now, yeah, we need more cops. So all of a sudden now we're going to go back to the same thing. And that's what they want. That's what they want. So we got to be careful. We have to be careful now, especially from a guy coming from New York. I know what it was coming up, born and raised in this town, man. I know how the 80s was as far as living in Brooklyn and going through the different boroughs. When I was young, as a young teenager, as a young adult, I know what's happening. And what I don't want to do is put more people into jails. We're past that now. Another wild thing that I saw that was going on with this guy Frank James that shot up this subway is he was mentally ill, and then Mayor Adams did say that they have to focus on the mentally ill. It's important that they try to understand this and deal with it, and so I give it up to him in that sense. But the wild part about it is the bombing happened. Excuse me, bombing, because I read that. I mistyped in my notes, and I'm sorry. So the shooting that happened in Sunset Park. Now, this dude was mentally ill. It so happened that 2 days later, I had a doctor's appointment, and that's one thing. I want to go forward. Go check out Forward. I actually posted it on my IG account when I do posts, and just to show you the different things. And I'm always forward thinking new ways to change the way human beings interact, especially in the medical field. And they're doing things different, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But what hit me so hard was the fact that I had to take the train into the city. I drive everywhere now, but I do take the train. And here it is, I'm on the train going to Forward in Lower Manhattan. And on the train are mentally ill people. A dude on my left talking to himself, and another dude on my right at different times of the train ride, talking to himself, throwing his hands up as if he's trying to grab at something. And as this is happening, there are people, the everyday people, commuters, that are ignoring this, and they're well aware that this is happening, but this is just a part of the quote unquote New York norm, where people listen to their music, where people read their books, where they talk and have conversations with their fellow commuters or friends that are on the train. All the while, mentally ill people are having episodes on the train. Now, what we do as New Yorkers, we just let it happen, because what are we going to do? We're just trying to get to our destination. As long as they do not become violent, it's something we accept. As much as we accept the homeless, we accept people that are mentally ill and at the same time homeless. And they're going through an episode, and we treat it as this is normal. And we just had a shooting where a man set off a smoke bomb and shot up people and walked about the city the next day as if nothing happened. And here it is back on the train, and people are going about their business as this is normal. And I'm just staring at the scene. I'm looking to the left of me as the doors are opening and people are piling out and people are piling back in on the train, and seeing this right before my eyes. It is insanity. We just had a situation happen in Sunset Park. And that's something that New York has always kicked the can down the road. Mentally ill people are just there. It is crazy up there in East Harlem. I'm up there in East Harlem going about my business, and people, the mentally ill, have taken over the block. All they do is just they corral around, going back and forth. I see the same faces. I even seen a pregnant homeless person. She was pregnant. It looked like she was pregnant. I don't know. Don't get it twisted. We got we got the heroin addicts is black and white. It's mostly because the community is black and brown. But yeah, there is a mixture of white folks that are strung out on drugs right there. And the pregnant homeless woman with her husband was white. And right across the street is the council member's office on 116th and Park Avenue. It's crazy. And here it is the day after, 2 days after, we go right back into our normal mode. We got to do something about this, man. We got to do something about this. And going back to as far as crime and how, sometimes the media will twist it up and use it as a propaganda piece to push to, expand the NYPD budget. Everything at the height of the George Floyd thing, and people were protesting from city to city across America, and they were all saying they were going to do this and they were going to do that. Nothing has happened yet. Nothing has happened. All the promises that a lot of these city officials may say, okay, we're going to do differently. They haven't done anything. And they're trying to twist the message to go back into, hey man, well, we need to put more. You haven't done anything yet. All we got was lip service. You didn't create a program. You didn't promote the program. You didn't get the program on the streets. You didn't assess how the program is doing 6 months down the line, 2 years down the line. You did not promote it or get it on the news saying, this is how many people we got off the streets. This is how many young adults that we given jobs. This is how many people have gone into some educational programs to prep them for the jobs of tomorrow. Nothing. You gave lip service at the height of everything that was happening with George Floyd. Now all of a sudden, I see it constantly. New York Post and the Daily News on Twitter. All I see is black faces, brown faces, black, brown, black, brown. One white guy. Black, brown, black. That's all I see. You would think all the crime that's happening in New York City is by black people, by brown people. In a city where it's 50% white folks, 25% black, 25% brown, and then the rest is smatterings, of course, the Asian community, but not as big as the black or brown community. Where 50% of New York City residents, 4 million out of the 8 million, no crime is happening by white folks. Oh, I see. So it's the same propaganda methodologies that they're using to criminalize black faces. And yeah, I'm not saying crime doesn't happen, but especially when you have something as heavily covered as what happened, and as heinous as this happened, that's out of the norm with this dude Frank James in Sunset Park, they're gonna use it as a piece. So instead of saying more cops, more, let's take that step and try to create programs that's going to change around the community. Continue supporting the George Floyd bill. Challenge the current local government on investing in poor communities. You have to step up and make sure that the narrative does not change. Now, I support y'all on the real. I support my folks all in poor communities. You weren't born rich. This is the life that you were into. But straight up, the hood got to step up too. You got to get up on your game. And I'm not just talking about New York City. I'm talking about anywhere, LA, New Orleans, Miami-Dade, Texas, wherever it is at. You got to start checking your kids, checking your people too. I know. I'm not saying that you say, well, you ain't going to stand high in your soapbox and tell me what I got to do. I don't have no money. I don't have the money to get Similac for my child. Look, listen, I understand it. But we got to start checking ourselves. We have to start policing ourselves. Because all this is a game being played on you to shuffle you into the prison system. And if you're 35, 25, 45 and you still doing fuck shit and you ain't get it yet, man, I don't know. I'm with the tough love, man. You got to straighten your back and get on up. And if you feel that you're not getting everything that you deserve coming from your community, then you got to challenge your local politicians. All the energy you putting into slinging or doing whatever you're doing, take that same energy and go right to your city hall, wherever you at, and put them on blast. See, I'm doing as far as what's going on. As I said, New York born and raised. I'm going to try to do what I got to do as a founder, as a citizen, as a person, as a New Yorker in this town. I will confront the mayor and the governor, whoever the governor is going to be, but I will try and institute something where it's going to be a $50 million program, a $100 million program that's going to revitalize poor communities, which you could get education. I'm not talking about welfare stuff. I know what it is to have nothing when I was a kid. I know what it is to have nothing. I'm not talking about welfare. I'm talking about things that are going to give you the proper steps to start to becoming independent. Either you're going to be a business owner or you're going to get a job in construction or any field that you want. But you got to do your part. You got to deal with your shit. I ain't going to be defending y'all and going up to the mayor and to the governor saying, hey, this is what we need to do. And you still doing fuck shit. Because that hurts my heart when I'm defending my folk, and all of a sudden I look on the news and I see plain as day this fool is doing some crazy shit. And all of a sudden, the people that opposes my stance are going to look me dead in my eye and say, see, that's why we need cops. So then I got egg in my face. But I'm here. We have to start turning things around. I don't want to jail the youth. I don't want to put them and throw them in Rikers Island. I want to give them opportunity. I want to give them hope. That's all they need when it comes to the youth. A lot of these gangs are what usually you see them on the online publications, and they're lined up, all their faces, men and women. And you look at these babies, you look at their faces, 16, 17, 19. They're robbed of opportunity wherever they came from, and now they're being shuffled right into the prison system. And you think that's what their life is supposed? Is that supposed to be their fate? Nah. You got to give them something. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm in the city the other day again in Harlem. I see needles on the ground. It's like the 80s all over. It's coming back. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? Needles on the ground, and all of a sudden you see the sweeper coming and just sweep them right up. Yo, we need to change how things are going in this city, man. If we're going to be the city of tomorrow and as everything that the mayor is saying, and he's being a pro Bitcoin, and he wants to change New York City, of course, post pandemic, and really build up the city into the city of tomorrow, then we got to do the hard work. Don't let it be lip service. Don't let him just talk that business. You got to put his feet to the fire. You got to challenge him. All the able-bodied, able-minded people that's coming from all the communities and the 5 boroughs, you got to step it up. I'm serious. No bullshit, man. You got to step it up, man. You can't complain and then all of a sudden this shit is going on in your community. You got to man up, a woman up, and start changing things that's going on in your community. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it hit me so hard, man, when I'm reading the articles and I'm looking at what's going on, or who this guy is, and here it is, I'm on the train and I'm seeing the same thing. The mayor just said they got to deal with mental health, and I go on a train, I see people, and that's how I normalized it. Because I came up when I was youth, and I was a part of that. I was on the train, and I just kind of whatever. I made them the backdrop of New York. Seeing people as mentally ill. And of course you heard those stories in the news where, that mentally ill dude got a knife or something like that, somebody got, but I always pushed it back, pushed it out, pushed it down. We can't do that anymore if we want New York City to be a new New York City and everything that it can be. So yeah, man. My heart goes out to all those people that got hurt. Hopefully we could do something different. Let's see what happens. And I will do that. Once I start making headway, I do want to approach the mayor and the governor and see what we can do and changing things around in the community. All right. Next thing, man. I'm doing a Twitter space, and it's going to be about Web3, the potential and what it means for our world. I'm gathering up some guests for it. I already have one locked down. I just want to get 2 more. So it's I'm doing this. I always could do a Twitter space, but it's funny as it may sound. You'd be like, yo, no, why don't you just do whatever you're talking about? Yeah, but to me, my head wasn't right. And the funny thing is, what put my head in the proper space is what happened with Frank James. And I'm looking around, and you're going to be like, yo, Nova, what's the mentally ill have to do with Lyfeblood and it being a DAO? Now it's emerging into the Web3 space, and it has a lot to do with that and how we're going to change things around. It's about building financial access, but it's also about other things. And I had a conversation with this guy he's a coder, and this guy is supremely smart. And I invited him on the Twitter space, and he didn't want to get involved with Web3. He thought it was a waste of time, and he went into detail about it. But essentially, he was like, I'm already making my money. I don't see the big deal of it. And I was like, no, it's not just about making money. It's more than that. What are the practical applications of being in the decentralized finance space, in the Web3 space, and how can we actually apply it to things that are going to improve people's lives? I'm all for it being $1 billion company, and that's what I want. I want to be $1 trillion company. Not gonna lie, I want to rival Coinbase and all the other decentralized dexes. So yeah, that's where I want to be, and I'm looking forward to really having this talk on the Twitter space. And I'm going to get these people and promote it, and hopefully you guys and invite folks. I'll share with all social media, and you guys can come to the table. Anybody that's a founder, anybody that's an investor, anybody that's a coder, anyone out there. This is a conversation that needs to be had, and we just got to put things in perspective. How this young new industry is going to make sure it's going to be whatever it needs to be. Instead, right now it's just a cash grab. People, and I said that early. I was studying it. And right now it's a cash grab, and it's all good. You want to make money off of it, that's cool. But there's so much more than to Web3 than what people think. So we'll see how that goes. Yo, the funny thing, folks, I was online, and this is a crazy. Yo, check this out. You will never know how crazy things can be, especially when you involve the court. So this dude, I think it was in I forgot where it was. Let me see even where this thing was at. This dude sued his company. Let me see. So this guy sues in Kentucky. It happened in Louisville, Kentucky. This guy sues his company, his employer, for throwing a birthday party that he did not want. And he won. You know how much this dude won? 450,000 smacks. Yo. Yo, if you haven't heard this story, it's making a little runaround on social media. But let me tell you, man. So this dude was told his boss. The story is, see if I can remember the story. So he told his boss prior to his birthday, probably like a year or something, don't throw me no party. I have anxiety. I have, I'm not into surprises. Don't throw me a party. I don't want the party. I have panic attacks, all that. So his boss, I guess he didn't want to listen. So don't come around. One full solar year, this guy's birthday comes around. The boss throws him the party anyway. And the dude spazzes. The guy he was throwing the party for, he spazzes. And people were like, I can imagine the situation. Oh my God, Kenny, oh my God. Oh, his name is Kevin Burling. That's crazy. I don't know why it came out of my head, Kenny. I did not know this guy name started with a K. I just thought Kenny. All of a sudden, I'm looking down this article and it says Kevin Burling because I typed it right quick. Yo, this dude, oh my God, Kevin. Why are you doing like this? Oh my God, you are getting out of control. And this guy is like on full tilt, like, yo, why are you throwing me apart? I can imagine it. So the boss pulls him into the office and tell him he didn't appreciate his behavior, And he's like, I told you I didn't want you to throw me a party. The guy's like, fuck you, whatever we do, And then a week later, I think they reprimanded him, whatever. Week later, he gets laid off. So Kevin Burling threw the middle finger, said, fuck you, I'm suing. So this guy sues his company for mental distress, emotional distress, and lost wages. Yo, it's a 2-day trial, and they said it ended in late March, I guess March 2022. This guy won $450,000. The judge went with him. Yo, I cannot. Yo, that's crazy. Yo, this just goes to show, respect people's decisions, man. Respect people's decisions or what they want. I don't know why this guy was like, I'm going to throw Kevin a party anyway. He's like, Kevin, I don't like your attitude. You're fired. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yo, crazy. This guy sues and he gets his money. Yo, man. It definitely puts ideas in people's heads because I'm like $450,000, and all he was like, "Yo, don't throw me a party. I'll mix that shit up." I'm like, "Are you gonna throw me a party?" Matter of fact, I don't want a party. No, maybe I should have a party. No, I definitely don't want a party. Mix that shit up. Next thing you know, oh my God, and just throw myself down. My neck, my back, my neck and my back. Yo, dude, that's nuts. I can't believe my man sued for $450,000 and won. That's amazing. So check this out. Terrell Owens, everybody knows Terrell Owens, ex-football player. My man's still playing football. Yeah, he's still playing football. Caught a touchdown in the FCF. I'm like, what the hell is the FCS? Turns out that there's some sort of a trend happening of there being offshoots of NFL games, and this is nothing new. There were other leagues, but they're saying that it's this new developing trend that's it's called fan control football, the FCF, and Terrell Owens is on the Zappers, and it's owned by Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook and New York Mets pitcher Trevor May. And this was just started. It turned out. I think it started as a joke or something like that, and the guy that created it, he was trying to get it done and shit didn't happen or whatever the case may be. And then some dude from, I think, England, whatever, read up on the story yourself. I'm not here to give details. I'm just the one that told you guys to say, wait a second. You mean to tell me you got like Terrell Owens and some star players to play for this league, and this joint is digitally streamed on Twitch? The difference is the fans get to choose the plays. I guess you could do it on your phone or something like that, and the fans choose. Let me see here. So they're saying is, let me see. It says for the certain watch for one call. You call all the plays. 7v7, 50-yard field. It's a 50-yard field. It's indoors. Real sidelines, big time athletes doing it. Do no kicking or special teams. So they're saying no kickoff, punts, or goals, goalposts. Teams start as their own 10-yard line and drive 40 yards for the score. And the extra point, how about a 1-versus-1 battle between a wide receiver and a DB, a defensive back? Wild. It's a 1 hour games, and I'm really interested, man. I'm really gonna check that out. That sounds interesting. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, man, I really do hope that this takes off, and there are other people that start other leagues just to do something different. I think it's something cool to do. It's almost like fantasy games, like when you get your fantasy players on, what do you call it, on the basketball game? I can't remember the damn basketball game. You got fantasy teams and all that. I think that's pretty dope, man. And you control the plays. I wonder how. I guess they'll say there's a selection A, B, C, D plays, and then on your app you just choose, and based on how many people are choosing it at that moment, I guess in a 10-second clip or whatever like that play is chosen. So man, I would like to be involved with that. I think that's kind of cool, man, and being involved in picking the plays, man. That's super dope. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about before I get out of here, man, I'm gonna have dinner. I got some other things to do. It's gonna be great, man. It's gonna be great next week. So Snoop Dogg, man. Snoop Dogg, everybody knows he purchased Death Row Records. My man purchased Death Row Records, and he's going to make music off of Death Row through NFT music. And I think that's dope. He was actually on the Drink Champs. He removed all the music from Death Row Records off of every streaming service, and he wants to give that same music on his own platform. I think that's super dope. Oh man, you don't know. I mean, I've been talking about this for a long time. Everybody knows that I'm not a big fan of music streaming, and I've said it on my social media. I've talked about it on the show before. I've centered that in the conversation in one of the segments on the show. And to see someone, a star as big as Snoop Dogg, really understanding and taking the steps to to becoming more financially independent and running his own business with Death Row Music, I'm all for that. I heard someone say, who's going to get into that anyway? And unless they're going to offer some unheard, unreleased music, then I don't give a goddamn. I will support it all the way. I think that's necessary. It's the same thing what I was doing with Lyfeblood before, and moving into the space. That's something that's definitely on the horizon that I'm thinking about, or that I know I'm going to get into. I'm just setting all my ducks in a row for this. But definitely, man, big ups to Snoop Dogg. I wish him all the best in getting this up and running on his platform, and hopefully this starts a trend, man. And that's why they don't talk about NFTs, because usually when they talk about this new thing, like when music streaming came out, it was in all the publications. It was the new wave, the new way to make money, and all it does is really just rape artists, or not just hip hop artists, but all genres. And I'm like, really? So, and they're only going to pay the A-listers, because the A-listers is what draws the people onto these music streaming platforms, and they're paying $10 a month. And when you have 10 million people, that's stupid money. And that money that's generated from people listening to music goes to the record labels, and really it comes down to cents right through the, you get little pennies dropping out from the sky right into your little purse that's strapped to your hip. And it's like, what? No, man. Control the platform. And it's something I'm not going to do exactly what Snoop Dogg had in mind, but definitely it follows along the spirit of what I was doing with Music Life on Lyfeblood before. And all the best, man. All the best to Snoop Dogg. All right, guys, I want to get out of here. I'm going to keep you guys in tune to the Twitter space that I'm doing and getting that thing together. I do have an interview next week of an up-and-coming artist, an independent indie artist that you probably guys already know. I think it's fantastic. I've been following her for a while. And I'm looking forward to doing an interview with her. So you'll see, man. Just tune in, man. And it's going to be on Zoom. I don't do a lot of Zoom interviews, but when I do, it's going to be worth it. So, yeah, man. So just stay tuned for next week on that interview with this upcoming R&B artist. And it's going to be super dope. All right. So I'm going to get out of here, folks. Thank you for listening to me. Be well. Be the best you can be. Don't worry about the haters. You need the haters, because it makes you know how far you've come. And always use yourself as your number one competitor, no one else. All right, you are your worst and best competitor. All right, I'm out of here, folks. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com. For the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town. We out.